Hi everyone, welcome to 5 on Fridays. I'm Lauren Batista, one of your employee wellness coordinators here at the City of Columbus. And I am here again at the Blom Administrative Campus at Ohio Health. And I'm here with our awesome dietitian, Maddie Bidwell, who, Maddie, tell us a little bit about yourself. I know, just from folks that may have missed other videos, just give us a little bit of background on how you work with us and what you do and how fantastic you are.
Shucks. Well, thanks for having me. If I haven't met you yet, I'm Maddie Bidwell. I'm a registered dietitian and I'm a wellness consultant with Ohio Health Employer Solutions. But really excited to be on the account working with you all this year. I mean, you might have seen some of our cooking demos that we've done. I know we did some taco bowls recently, but we're also launching some education sessions with wellness champions, so we'll really be expanding how much I get to work with you all here this year, so that'll be fun as we get into it a little bit more.
Definitely. And for you folks, if you're thinking about having a dietitian come to your workplace and talk about various nutrition topics and stuff, Maddie is definitely available for that. So she would love to come out and visit you and talk to you all about all things nutrition. So feel free to reach out to her and invite her to your workspace for a meeting, an agenda item, whatever it may be. Absolutely. We love working with Maddie. You are absolutely fantastic. You have such insightful information about nutrition.
So kind.
Yeah. And I'm telling you, we have been gushing too, talking about the fact that it's spring. We're getting into, planting season and our spring gardens. And so I'm excited to talk to you about, starting our gardens again for the summertime and thinking about eating seasonally during this springtime as we're going into summer. So tell me a little bit about what we should be thinking about with eating fresh seasonal produce.
Yeah, I mean, every season of the year really has its own kind of style of eating. I feel like we're now just leaving the stews and soups season.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I've loved my crock pot, but it's time for some fresh produce.
Heck yeah.
So when I think about springtime nutrition, I think, like you said, we're all starting our gardens. We were just talking about that before this, and I'm so excited for all of that. But I like to think about our local farmers markets and everything that just starts to pop up. So, some of that fresh produce that we have, like citrus and strawberries and dark leafy greens and onions, all of those are starting to come out. So if we can think in a more plant-forward way in the spring and incorporate those into our diet, we can actually save a lot of money, but then also be getting a ton of local nutrients, which is awesome.
And why is it really important to kind of eat seasonally throughout the year? What does it do for us from a nutrition standpoint?
Sure. I mean, not only is it more sustainable, right, because we're supporting our local farmers and making sure that they can keep doing what they're doing, but anytime we're getting an array of foods that are around us in a variety of different colors and things like that, we're getting a host of different health benefits. So for example, there's a word, it's kind of big, but it's called phytochemicals. And basically what a phytochemical is it's something that protects the plants, and it gives us health properties as well when we eat them. So a lot of this produce that we're eating in the springtime with our dark leafy greens or different colored fruits, all of those different colors have different phytochemicals with different health properties. I think I was telling you before, garlic, for example, has a phytochemical called allicin, which has anti-tumor properties, but some of them are anti-inflammatory, some of them have antioxidant properties, so we're just getting a host of different chemicals that, if we were just eating, I don't know, if we weren't focusing in on our produce, we wouldn't be getting all those different options.
Sure. Tell me more about what foods we should look out for some of those anti-inflammatory foods that are coming up in the springtime. What are some of your favorites?
That's a great question. I don't know that I know specific produce that are all anti-inflammatory, but if you're really looking for good anti-inflammatory foods, going for your omega-3 foods are going to be a good option. So these are fats like our nuts and seeds, even avocados and fatty fish, all of those are going to have some of those anti-inflammatory properties, and just different colored produces. So just make sure you're eating the rainbow, and you're going to get a host of those different benefits.
Awesome. And so when we're thinking about eating and tasting the rainbow, if you will, and stuff, thinking about our red foods, our orange foods, our yellow foods, and green ones and stuff, what are some of those foods that are in the rainbow that are springtime, that are more like seasonal and fresh? I know you mentioned leafy greens, so what kind of falls under there? I think we talked about maybe strawberries or something other.
Strawberries. A lot of our citrus, like grapefruits and lemons and limes.
Okay.
But then also in the leafy greens, right? Things like kale or romaine. Even I have some bok choy seeds at home that I'm growing.
Nice.
And if you're not familiar with bok choy, it's a really awesome leafy green that can grow in the shade and in some of the cooler weather. And it's awesome to just saute up in a pan as a side dish with a dinner.
Yum. And
so,
where do you see bok choy? Mostly like we see a lot of Asian dishes, I feel like, that use bok choy. Where else have you seen bok choy and stuff?
You know, you can really incorporate it into anything. I know we think about it as being related to Asian dishes, but I like to include it just as like a side dish if I'm making some salmon or maybe some baked chicken. You can either saute up the whole leaves or even just the stem pieces if you want something a little bit crunchier. So there's a variety of different ways that you can cook with it. So don't be afraid to include different ingredients into different cuisines and really use what you have available to you.
Awesome. And when we're going to some of those farmers markets and picking out like our leafy greens or our bok choy and stuff, what are some things to kind of keep in mind as you're going through the farmers markets?
Yeah, absolutely. Talk to your local farmers and learn about some of the different farming strategies that they use. Are they using pesticides? Are they not? You know, are they using a different tool that's really helpful? But talk to them, see what they have locally during different times of the year as well. But then also, I mean, really just use your eyes and visualize everything, right? You're going to see what looks good and what doesn't, and just learn a lot from them. But if you're not familiar with where your local farmers market is, there's a really great website called localharvest.org.
Great tip.
And you can find farmers markets that are near you. So if you're someone, you're like, wow, I've never been and that sounds intimidating, check out that website first and then just go and peruse first. You know, there's so many different groups bringing different things. And everyone there is going to be so excited to talk to you, so you can really learn a lot.
Definitely. I'm writing that down for sure to come back to later. Absolutely. And finding my local farmers market this weekend. And so, you know, you brought up this topic of pesticides. And I think a lot of us wonder, you know, between the organic versus conventionally grown food, you know, sometimes we have to use organic. There are organic pesticides out there, right? So that can be used. There are certain approved products, right? Is there a nutritional difference between some of the stuff that we see at the grocery store, the more conventional stuff, and organic foods from like a nutrition standpoint?
Yeah, as far as the research shows, as of now, we don't see a nutritional difference. I mean, we couldn't sell conventional foods if they weren't going to, if they were going to cause some kind of harm to the body. So there's no reason that you necessarily need to go out and buy organic unless you feel personally that that is going to be the better option for you. But of course, I mean, we're always learning more about nutrition. There's always more research coming out. So it's really awesome to just continue to look it up and see what new research is out there. But right now, definitely go for what's going to be budget friendly for you and your personal convictions.
Right, exactly. And if you like the practices of how they're doing organic farming and stuff, then certainly worth the time, worth your money, worth the time. Absolutely.
But like you said, I mean, even if it's organic, it doesn't mean they're not using pesticides. It just means they're organic pesticides. So that's something to keep in mind too. I think sometimes we forget that.
Yeah, definitely. Maddie, as we're entering into the spring season and stuff, we're hearing this buzzword about plant-based eating and stuff. Tell me what you think it's like to be more plant-based eating and stuff in the springtime.
I think when we think of plant-based eating, sometimes we think, well, doesn't that mean vegan or vegetarian? I'm not ready for that. And what it really means is just using plants as the foundational food for the rest of your meal. And plants doesn't just mean vegetables, right? We're talking fruits, veggies, whole grains, herbs and spices, nuts, seeds. So including a variety of those in your meals. So sometimes what I like to do is first decide, well, what plant foods am I going to include in a dinner, especially if I'm not sure what I'm going to make.
Right.
So I'll take a look in my fridge or when I go grocery shopping, what maybe veggies or fruits stand out to me that I want to use.
Yeah.
So I'll be like, well, maybe we will use, like we were talking about, that bok choy.
Right.
So I'm going to saute up some bok choy, and what do I want to eat for the rest of my meal? Maybe I'm going to do a Mediterranean chicken and throw in some other veggies and some rice. But really it's about just incorporating new plant foods. So if you're someone, maybe you're like, I'm in the little kid phase and all I eat are chicken nuggets and french fries because that's all my kids will eat. You can still be plant forward with that and be like, well, maybe I'll throw in a side salad for myself. I don't know if my kids will eat it. I'll offer it, but either way, I know I'm getting those vitamins and minerals.
Right.
So it can be as big as going for a vegetarian meal once a week, or even just finding a vegetable prepared in a way that you enjoy and including that into your already established diet.
Right.
So you can really go as big or as little with it as you want, but this is the time of year to really consider it because, I mean, we're getting all of that awesome produce after the winter.
Right, exactly. And we're just starting our gardens, planting those seeds, looking at some of those foods that are going to come up in the next few months and stuff, and really have that fresh produce. It's just fantastic. Yeah, no, I love the idea of going into your fridge and figuring out, okay, what fruits and vegetables and whole grains and stuff do I have in order to incorporate within my dish of, like, it doesn't have to be a prescribed recipe or like what we traditionally think of as a certain dish. We can kind of just make that based on what we have within our refrigerators, or maybe that we want to just grab at the supermarket or something, and then combine it together to make a cohesive dish. But it doesn't have to be, I have to have rice or I have to have, you know, some kind of sauces or something. We can figure it out based on what we have.
Definitely.
So, well, thank you so much, everyone, for joining us for 5 on Friday. It's been great talking with Maddie Bidwell here today, our registered dietitian. And we hope you have a great rest of your weekend. Take care and do something for your nutrition.
Happy gardening, everybody.
Yeah, happy gardening.